our next principle, we need to go up a gear, because what we now need to consider is gearing or leverage or borrowing of other people's money. Sadly, we will never be wealthy purely on what you just earn and save. There isn't enough time to make a significant difference there. But what the super wealthy have always understood is that they can use other people's money on their own wealth projects. Here we are back in London at one of the city's oldest coaching inns and coffee houses. And it's in coffee houses like this that our banking system and our stock market began in the late 17th and early 18th century. Traders would come to the table or bench and bank their proposition for others to take. It's here that businesses were first traded, and it's here that money was first loaned and borrowed.
If you're building a business, you're going to borrow money. So when you borrow money, you have to repay it. So you have to make sure you budget and ensure you can make the repayments in years to come. Not just pretend you can make them. Actually look at your budget, look at your business plan and make sure it works.
Raising money or raising debt is actually a very fundamental part of growing a business. I suppose for me, the secret has always been, it's okay to borrow money as long as you never forget that you do actually have to pay it back.
Choose wisely. And you don't incur debt for non-appreciating assets. You are, first and foremost, your most appreciative asset.
If there is anything such as good debt, and I say that with mixed emotions, the only good debt there is if that debt is going to produce income for you. Or, for example, if you're going into the property, if you're investing in property and the person who's renting the property is paying your amortization on a debt plus you're making a profit or at least breaking even, that could be argued that that's good debt. But that is the only exception.
I'm the youngest of 5 children, lived in hand-me-downs all my life, and as a result, I grew up with that ethos that you work hard, but you don't spend hard.
Now, there's a big difference between what I call consumer debt and investment debt. Consumer debt is for that unnecessary or petty purchase, such as the sparkly shoes. Investment debt is something quite different.
Too many of us, women in particular, feel the need to go out and have retail therapy for some instant gratification. I mean, come on, ladies, how many pairs of black pumps do you really need when you're still renting versus owning your own home?
I have used debt inappropriately. I've used credit cards inappropriately. When I was not conscious, I did not have a plan. I didn't know what my monthly overhead was. And I was sort of irrationally or blindly accumulating debt, either through loans or credit cards, what have you.
Break that need to mount more debt, because if you've been in debt, you know there's a feeling of guilt associated with the debt. I feel guilty because I'm in debt. I'm ashamed. I can't tell anybody I'm in debt. Oh, for God's sake, if anyone finds out I owe that much money, what will they think of me? What will they do to me? Because there's that debt. And it's like this dark cloud hanging over our heads if we're in debt.
A great metaphor for paying off your debts is this. Just imagine you've got several, let's say, credit cards, for example, and one of them you have to pay quite a large amount of in terms of percentage, and another one a little bit smaller, and another one very small. Imagine focusing all your energy, just like an army, so you get the howitzers in, you get the front people going in, you get the helicopters in, all focusing on the big one, the one that you have to pay the most on, and you just blast that one, and it reduces faster and faster and faster and faster. Then you now suddenly have got all of these resources, and you call in, you say, helicopters, we're now going into the second one, the second highest paying one, and in you go, and the army goes in, and the navy goes in, and you just blast it to pieces. So the first one is the one which costs you the most, because they've got you on the highest rate, then the second highest rate, and then the third highest rate, and you just blast it. Get rid of debt.
I'm a firm believer that you don't raise your lifestyle unless you raise your savings and investments by the same amount. That's been the policy for many years for me. So every time I want to raise my lifestyle, I just ask, will I be willing to raise my savings and investments that same amount? If I do, I've earned the right to do it. I also must be able to pay my taxes that same amount. So if I want to raise my lifestyle, say $5,000 a month, or $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 a month, I've got to be willing to put that much into savings and that much into taxes at the same time.
Well, you know, you think you have to use your judgment on this thing. You have to go into debt sometime in order to generate a profit in the future.
I'm a person that I hate debt. I absolutely hate debt, and I hate interest. So the day I was free was when I was free of car payments and mortgage payments and debt. But when I started, I had $800. So the only way that I could start that first business at age 21 was a candy and ice cream parlor business called Peterson's House of Fudge. The only way that I could do it was through debt.
Fortunately for me, I have quite a lot of debt across my entire portfolio, but I have been very sensitive to ensure that I've got a level of debt that is sustainable within the business situations that I'm involved with. So to summarize, it's okay to have debt, but remember, you do have to pay it back.
When borrowing money, here are the two most important things to remember. Always make sure that you can make all payments on time and that you have a contingency plan just in case. And then when you are certain and safe, gear up and use other people's money to create your riches. Debt is easy to manage if you know how. So for example, if you have a standard mortgage of $100,000 at 6% and you can manage to overpay by $100 a month, you will reduce your mortgage by a massive $27,000 and knock 6 years off the life of it. So don't hide from debt, just understand it and get control of it.